Well, the question a lot of people have been asking is when Josh Giddey, Tre Jones, and Jalen Smith are back, and it looks like they're going to be back as soon as the game tomorrow for the Chicago Bulls. We're going to talk about what that means and more right after this. What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content today, y'all. And the Chicago Bulls are getting some of their key players back here. This for many people was the last question left on what the Chicago Bulls are going to do for the remaining part of the year. I've looked at it personally as far as getting Josh Giddey, Jalen Smith, and Tre Jones back. It's just you can run more of an actual system. You want to see how these players fit next to Josh Giddey. It's not necessarily about winning a ton more games, but it is about running your actual system, and now you can do some actual development. Before, with no actual point guards, the Bulls weren't even really running a system. They were just out there basically going off instincts. Now you can get back to running an actual system. You get Josh Giddey back on the court for hopefully the final 27 games, and now you can evaluate these guys, how they look next to Josh Giddey. If you have any hope of keeping Anthony Simons, you want to see what he looks like next to Josh Giddey. If you want, think long-term about Colin Sexton staying. Maybe you want to see what he looks like coming off the bench with Tre Jones. And then we just know Jalen Smith has just been really good to be able to move Modest back to the three. We'll see if Jalen actually maybe gets an opportunity to start here as the center, which he may do as well for the Chicago Bulls, so we'll see what's going to happen with that. But overall, I think this is just something that adds a little bit more clarity to the play style for the Chicago Bulls. I do not expect this to drastically change the win or loss total or anything for the Bulls because we're still 90% guards, and we still don't really have a good balance on the team overall. So now you also go into a logjam. A couple of questions that are remaining left that are going to be major for this one is, with Josh Giddey and Tre Jones back, what does that do for Rob Dillingham, right? Does Rob Dillingham fall back to like what he was with Minnesota, where he's on the back end of the bench? Because you would like to think they're probably going to play Anthony Simons. They're probably going to keep playing Jaden Ivey as they need to evaluate him before his restricted free agency. So either Colin Sexton or Rob Dillingham are going to be left out of the rotation, I would say. And with the way that Billy Donovan likes to play, I don't necessarily see him leaving Colin Sexton out of the rotation. Now, one thing that could be a knock against that is we know that Billy Donovan is not hesitant to play 3-guard, 4-guard lineups. So maybe you still see some of that when it comes down to it. But overall, I guess we'll see what Billy Donovan's plan is, what the Bulls' plan is. But that Rob Dillingham piece is the one biggest question in that. Do they feel comfortable enough to play him and leave Colin Sexton out of the rotation, or does Rob Dillingham get regulated back to being on the back end of the bench? Now, Dillingham is only in his, second year in the league, so he could still be assigned to the Windy City Bulls if they want to do that. But then you would think with Yuki Kawamura down there and Mac McClung down there, you then still run into a logjam of guards. So that's one of the questions that we're going to see in this one. Jalen Smith, we know exactly where he fills in at. There's no question about Jalen Smith. Tre Jones, one of Billy Donovan's favorite players. He's not going to be out of the rotation. So between Jaden Ivey, Colin Sexton, Anthony Simons, and Rob Dillingham, who is out of that rotation for the Bulls? One of those guys are going to be out of the rotation. Like I said, in my mind, is either going to be Sexton or Dillingham, and we'll see how that's going to work out when it comes down to that part of it. But everything else relatively stays the same. Excited to see what Nick Richards can do, playing with a point guard like Josh Giddey. Gershon Yabusele can go back to playing more of the natural 4 than having to play some small ball 5, because you're probably going to play Jalen Smith at that a little bit with Nick Richards there. No still word on Zach Collins, which to me shows that Zach Collins is probably going to get shut down for the year. I would not be surprised if by the end of this month we get word that Zach Collins is done for the rest of the season and he won't return for the Chicago Bulls. I would not be surprised if that ends up being the case at all. Again, that's my personal opinion on that. I guess we'll see if that ends up being the case overall. But let's see how you guys are feeling about it. Jake Capone says, yes, we're going to half tank because of Billy's dumbass. That's funny. Still going to lose. I mean, I think that's the plan, right? Good for us. Too bad we're still tanking. Yeah, that's not going to change. Glad Giddey is back from the meet. Shout out to that. Joseph says, are the Bulls going to be active in – yeah, is that a question? Is that a real question, Joseph? We have 8 players that are free agents. Yes, we're going to be active in the market in some shape, form, or fashion. What up, Haize? Hope you're doing good, bro. Wish this was our year, man, especially how we started early this year. Yeah, I mean, hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles, bro. Happy Giddey's back. Just feel kind of bummed that Rob's minutes are most likely going to go down. Yeah. Like I said, unless they do decide to Sexton, I think that's just a pretty safe bet that Rob Dillingham's minutes are probably going to go down. Tankers are not real sports fans. That's funny. Just think about it. If you're Josh, the first front office try to lowball you in the offseason. Now they're setting you up for failure and throwing away this entire season. I mean, this entire season got thrown away before with injuries. Like, let's be clear here. The Bulls weren't winning a lot of games, even before the trade deadline. That's part of the reason they made that decision. They weren't winning a lot of games. Between injuries to Josh, injuries to Kobe, missing Zach Collins for a long period of time, it's not like we were winning a lot of games. Now, do I think we would have won more? Like, let's say that we didn't do the trade deadline, we did. And now Jalen Smith, Josh Giddey, and Trey Jones are coming back with 27 games left. Yeah, you probably couldn't compete it for the 10th or the 9th seed for sure. But, Charlotte got better. After the trade deadline, Milwaukee's going to get Giannis back, so there's that part of it. It is what it is. Glad he's back, but we should be playing the guys that are expiring major minutes. There is no benefit to playing Giddey these games. There is benefit because you're still looking for long-term fit. You still want to develop. So there is benefit to playing Josh Giddey down these. Josh is still developing. You want to see what Simons and Jaden Ivey look like next to Josh. Hell, you want to see what Josh Giddey's good for Modest. Like Modest has an opportunity to take a lot more shots and develop here. You want that. So there is benefit to that. I disagree that there's no benefit, but I do get what you're saying overall. Doesn't Rob Shay, what the fuck is that, bro? What the hell is that? Rob Dillingham's? Doesn't Rob Dillingham's situation remind you of Cameron Payne when we tried to trade for him a while back? Not necessarily, because Cam Payne was actually getting minutes at one point. It was just bad. Rob Dillingham just hasn't had an opportunity. Josh Giddey alone should push us to the play-in spot. At least, no, he won't. No, he won't. He needs a team still. Watch Billy do not play Nick Richards and Yabusele and play all the guards first. I doubt that'll happen. That would be crazy. That'd be crazy. Why can't we just bench P. Will and play? So, do you think P. Will and Rob play the same position? Because that's where I need to start at with that question. You. What? This team still be the same. The front office still Joseph. You got to stop being go touch some grass and some coochie because your whole thought process is stupid. Everyone in the city believes in Rob. No, that's not true either. That's definitely not true. Rob, hey, so Rob taller than where you get that Rob Dillingham taller than Tyrese Maxey? Where are you getting that at? If I'm not mistaken, Tyrese Maxey is a legit 6'3", right? Am I tripping in that one? Hey, hold on. Now you got me Googling shit because now maybe I'm tripping. Tyrese Maxey is a legit 6'2". Rob Dillingham is barely 6'1". But it's not just about height with Rob Dillingham either. It's not just about the height. I want to be clear there. Dan, Billy Donovan not coaching this week because of Billy Donovan's back on Friday. He's not coaching or back on Saturday. He'll be back with practice on Friday. He's only missing one day. That's Thursday. What if all of a sudden they start winning a lot of games just like they last year after the All-Star break? I mean, listen, if that happens, I guess that's what happens. It's going to piss a lot of people off. Yeah, Billy Donovan's back on Friday, Casey Johnson. I just wanted to go verify. He's back on Friday. But, yeah, hey, this is the team. We'll see what happens the rest of the way through. We're going to have some fun covering it. We're going to have fun with it as only we can do. And that's all we can say to it, man. We're just going to make it fun. That's it. So we'll see what's going to happen with this Bulls team. We're going to be here to cover it. Oh, just a FYI, I will not – there's no pregame, postgame, no nothing on Saturday. So nothing on Saturday. But we will have our normal stuff tomorrow and Thursday. Nothing on Saturday. But other than that, we'll be there, man. But all right, I love you guys, man. Make sure you guys are following us at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. BullCentralPod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Love you guys. Go Bulls. See red, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.